Hello once again of another Age of Empires 4 game. This time it's a custom game on Megarandom with Dr. Dynasty versus Electron Slayer. Okay. Was asked to take a look at the game and see what Electron Slayer can improve. If anyone else needs tips or has need in Age of Empires games, they can gladly ask me. Just send me the name, probably the map and the game, and I can take a look at the replay. So we have a relatively basic 2-2-2 start. I'm not the biggest normal start with English. Not the biggest fan of that. I think it's not the most efficient. With Abbasid, there's I think a few options. With English there's 3 starting options. Either you start with a barracks, push 2 man-at-arms out and try to deny the enemy gold. For Abbasid also stone. What works quite well. The other option is a relatively early mill into farm, into wheelbarrow, what I quite like. And I think then at the moment the start I see them most often, most of the time, is you start with a really early stone mining camp on stone with 2 villagers on stone, and you more or less delay the rest of the build and just play like normal. And you don't get a lumber mill, you just get the straggler trees. With that you hit around 6 minutes H up and the second TC, and from there on out you can transition directly with 2 TC into longbows, spearmen, push with Abbasid. But also the standard opener should in theory work. I think that's too many guys on gold. No, that's not enough guys on food. 8 on food and then you get them to gold. Also yeah, at the beginning you should have. Yeah, you're 7 seconds behind with the first villager. So probably 8 to 9 seconds. Oh, that's an interesting misclick. I have. I don't know if that's a misclick or no. He was on call. Why? To be honest, I have no idea what this is. So why? Also, first of all, killing deer with a villager is really inefficient. What you can do, that's a little bit of micro. You go kill 2. You take 2 villagers, kill the deer. You can gather the deer carcass, kill the next deer when the guy is on, when the shot is on off cooldown. And to the next. The thing just with the mill is I don't know why. Also, I don't know why you with. Okay. that is not an opener. So it might be a little bit harsh, but that's not an opener. Nah. The mill is absolutely pointless. Also, I like in theory the mill transition, but it's with Abbasid you don't need an early transition, also you're English. You don't need even D at all, to be honest. You just can transition to farms. Then yeah, that you didn't start. The villager for 7 seconds happens is not the best, but that comes with time and practice. But this is horrendous. You will now be up at around 340s, what is also not a good time. With a normal opener, you should be around 4 minutes at the 4-minute mark up with the council hall with only 4 villagers, and you have a barracks and can produce out of the barracks and the long and the art council hall at the same time. So that's the other thing where I said too many guys on gold. And you never ever pull 10 villagers for feudal age up. The only two maybe exceptions. Yeah, okay, that's the only exceptions is a Barbican wash, a Kremlin wash. I don't know how the Malian tower is called, but maybe with that. And the Aachen Chapel. And the Kremlin, in theory. Aachen Chapel and Kremlin, even the Kremlin is, I think, max 8 villagers. Why the Aachen Chapel and the Kremlin? Because they give you actually eco bonuses. So they give you something. A council hall gives you. That's just 2 archery ranges. That gives you nothing. So you now idle this villager for 2 shots. How much attack speed he has? Bow 3.38 attack speed. That's over 6 seconds per deer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 6 is 35. So around 40 seconds. Yeah, 40 seconds too much. Around 37 seconds. This villager was idle here. So you more or less a whole villager behind already. Then you're with 10 villagers here idle. And the worst thing is, because you're with 10 villagers on the council hall, what gives you absolutely nothing, nada, 0. You could have built, to be honest, the other landmark would be better in this situation, because does nothing at the moment. You idle your TC because you aren't on food. You're somehow on wood, but get a landmark. Is it 2? So we are now 47 seconds. You had 47 seconds less. Villager production in 4 minutes. In another 4 minutes. It's 240 seconds. You had in 240 seconds. Over 47 seconds. Around 50 seconds for 240 seconds your TC idle. That's close to 25% of the game you had your TC do nothing. You can quit out the game. Also, if your opponent is on the same level as you, you can quit out the game at that point. It's also, what did you do with the fast age up? We have the first longbow in production at minute 4. I think every basic English normal build order, you are 8. You get the longbow at the exact same time with 17 villagers to 17, plus a barracks, and you can afford everything. You can afford the barrack production with the spearmen, and you can afford the longbows. If you want to all in. I don't think it's... If you want to go get up and ranked, I think all inning is good, but you don't learn anything from that, so... Besides the basic build order, but... Yeah. What was that start? Why at 420? You should be up at 350 with a delayed with a late so if you go dark age rebuild, this is the time where you age up. I want that. Also you should be aged up now. With a clean 2-2 build. But with a later rebuild, this age up is quite late. That's too much gold. And yeah, that's the... Okay. I understand the idea now behind it at least. The execution is still horrible, but... So if you want to do this, just take the... catch our YouTube video about any English build order, I think. English all-in feudal age build order, something like around that. And I think it gives you a build order that hits at the same time, just with spearmen and archers. I don't think this is the... Versus Abbasid... Also, versus Abbasid, I personally have 3 starts as English. Or I think 3 starts are relatively viable versus English. The man at arm delay gold start is really good. Especially if the gold spawn is forwards. It's amazing. It can take certain civs out completely. Some civs are fine against it. Also, it depends on the build a little bit. But yeah, an AoE player who doesn't suspect it can be absolutely fucked by something like that. The other option is like this: you go a fast feudal age with more or less the same setup Electron Slayer has here. You get 3 to 5 longbows out, or 3 to 6 longbows out. And you try to kill as many villagers as possible here. 3 is the lower number, 6 is the higher number, but you just be in a pain in the ass and force your opponent into producing military. And behind that, you're getting a fast second TC or a fast castle age. Either one of is fine. I just don't just a basic all-in versus Abbasid is very, very greedy, I think. He did the economy ring, so at least the fight will be a lot harder. And it's one villager dead. Nice start. Second villager dead. So you redeemed at least your absolute terrible start with that. Okay, you go for an all-in. Okay. At least I'm guessing you're going for an all-in because you already have 4 longbows here, 5 and 6, and that's the 7th, just overproduction, or 8. These 4 would be more than enough. If you don't want to all-in. So, these 4 longbows, that's a job. You could have put the guys on stone and just got a second TC and live your life happily. Get a few farms, you have an eco lead already. If you had an actual okay start, you would be 4 villagers ahead instead of 2. Did he forget to did Dr. Sagnesty forgot forgot to produce a villager too? He loses 1 from fresh foodstuffs. And lost 2. And he's low on food. Interesting. Yeah, probably. So you want to all in here. In this position. You see he got a stable. So there's 2 options. Either you let them stay here and place palings and hope they win for longbows versus 1 horseman. Not the best, but could work. I personally would have just gotten a second TC behind that and boomed the shit out of this game, or just rush Castle Age and be happy with the game. Castle Age was actually really good with King's Palace. With English in a situation like that. Would have loved to see an archer range down at archer range. An actual tower around here would be good. Archer range would be good. Farms would be good. Here you have cheaper farms from the economy wing now, so farms actually would be really nice. And that's another villager dead. Bad rally point. And that's the 3rd horse. What? What? Why? Oh god. Why in God's name you want to go stable? You never go stable with English, besides Abbey of Memes. You wanted a barracks out for 3.5 minutes. I think you wanted to start at the barracks with The all-in you're doing. Ah, here he gets the barracks. Also, horrible place to get the barracks. This. Also, this table is absolutely pointless. You don't need it, you don't want it. Forget it. The reason why you want stable instead of spearmen is because the enemy with horsemen archers can maybe beat your spearmen archers in a same matchup. That's correct, yeah. Horsemen archers are better than spearmen archers because they can outmaneuver them in theory. But you're English. You have the fucking longbow. Nobody can beat this fucking unit. As long as you have as many longbows as the enemy has archers, you win. You win hard. You just want spearmen so the enemy can get horsemen attacks. So you already should have had, if you want to all in, there should have been less villagers on the council hall, 4, and you could have had a barracks, skip the mill up here, absolutely pointless this thing. At the point, you had still sheep here. You went for, the problem is with an all-in, like you did, is you want to hit as hard as possible, as fast as possible. Not as fast, you don't want to age up as fast as possible and do nothing the next 20 seconds, because you can afford anything. You're shooting yourself in the knee with that. So you more or less raided your own base, fucked up your whole economy and everything, so you can attack your enemy weaker than possible. This makes no sense. Also, yeah, this table makes absolutely no sense. So, with an all-in, you want to delay stuff like the deer and farms as much as possible. Of course, you want faster the deer. Also, either you get instantly on the deer and get a really fast wheelbarrow, what delays your age up time and it makes your all in a little bit later, but a lot stronger because you have a lot more eco behind that than normally. But here now your army gets completely cleared. You have more idle time on your villagers. Probably maybe even lose them if you don't move them now. And your all in is, he gets now on stone, gets a, and to see, and the game is over, more or less. Because you're deciding to go horseman and still trying to all in him, and yeah, you're 2 villagers ahead. In theory, the problem is 1 villager ahead only anymore because they're here. The big problem is he already has wheelbarrow, so he has 5% more efficient villagers or something like around that, or 3%. Plus 50, let's say he has 23% more efficient villagers. With 20 villagers, that's around 4 villagers, so he has a 3 villager lead, eco-wise. So he actually out-ecos you hard. He gets more resources down than you do at the same time, and he gets now his second TC. Or should get his second TC. Just engage with the horsemen on the fucking archers. They're just longbows. What the fuck? There are no spears. Just engage. Also, I have no idea why these longbows are out. Oh yeah. I forgot before why this barracks makes no sense. Your opponent is on horsemen. your longbow production is back here. You want your barracks next to your fucking longbows. Because if you send rally your longbows from here, somewhere here, they have to walk this direction. If your opponent has any vision of the map and has any idea how to play it, he will use his cav units that counter your archers and kill them here. So you have to send your spearmen, if you had produced them here, back to your base to escort your longbows back to the enemy base. That makes absolutely no sense. It's pointless. No idea why. The other problem is, why on God's earth you want horsemen? Horsemen are shit for English. They do nothing. You can't really wait with them, especially not Abbasid. Your opponent already has more horsemen. And you can't even body block with them really with archers. You just can get spearmen, around 5 spearmen, you don't need any more, and place them behind your archers. Maybe 1 or 2 more in your base to maybe defend the deer up here or something like that. But with the offensive force, we need 5 to 10. You need half as many spearmen as the enemy has horsemen, I have the feeling. And the trick is you keep your spearmen behind your archers, and if the enemy tries to engage on you, you shoot with your longbows, and then the horseman comes near, you pull the spearman forwards or your longbows backwards into the spearman, and then the horseman can't engage, and the enemy's archers have to back up, come running to you if you run with your archers a little cut back into your spearman. So you can outrange him all the time, you outdamage him all the time, and he has to take a bad engagement or he just took free damage. After you got your 5 to 10 spearmen, you don't need that many, as I said, you just want a few to stop the horsemen. You start to produce men-at-arms. Because men-at-arms are absolutely broken versus Abbasid of Feudal Age. Yeah, also in theory they're absolutely broken. In practice, if you're English, they're absolutely broken. If you're AoE, they absolutely suck. Why? Because the English has a fucking longbow and you can... How you want to counter men-at-arms? Horsemen suck against them. Archers are okay, but you need a shit ton of them. And you have the weaker archers versus English. And English probably has more archers than you most of the time. So that's not really an option. The real counter against Feudal Age men-at-arms is the Camel Archer and the Spearman of Abbasid. Mass Spearmen and Camel Archers. The problem is both absolutely suck versus the Longbow. So you can't mass Camel Archers because Camel Archers are just expensive as shit. You can mass Camel Archers versus... Yeah, you can mass Camel Archers versus HIE, but not versus English because the Longbow shreds them. So, general tips for the game. What can you improve? Get a build order with English. Either the basic all-in one, the 2TC start. But yeah, that's the start behind. Until here. I have no idea what happened here, or why you catched up, but happens. You start to age up. Ran out of food. Horrendous. Yay, you got a 40-second, 50-second earlier age up, but you did nothing with the age up and you fell behind, so you fucked your own equal line with your age up. Then the other thing is, if you want to all in with English, you can't lose your longbow mass. If you get cleaned up and you didn't absolutely destroy the enemy eco more or less, so you killed 15 villagers more. You have 15 villagers, 20 villagers more than he does. You can GG out more or less. It's over. The problem is you are momentum based with English. So either you go 3-4 longbows like you did, and the opener, besides the build order was shit, but the attack was nice. It worked. But you had some weird mix between an all-in and a boom build. If you just send 3 to 5, 6, 7 longbows out, 3 to 5 is an actually good number. Everything above is shit, I would say. 3 to 6, sorry. 6 because you can one-shot a villager, but in theory 3 is enough. You force a response of your opponent, and you can just get a second TC or fast castle age. Fast castle age, then you actually can go also stable like you want and go for knights. I think it's still absolutely shit, especially versus Abbasid, especially you can go man at arms instead. What's better in every way, especially English man at arm, but okay. But that's the thing I would do. If you want to all in, like you tried, you need the barracks. If you want to, you can skip the barracks for a faster age up, that's fine. Absolutely okay. But if you skip the barracks, get the 3 to 4 longbows out, do as much equal damage as you can, get a barracks behind it, maybe even 2, and then start spearman production with longbows. You need the spearman because the enemy will always go horseman. And if they get the horseman out, just clean your archer mess up and you're fucked. You can GG out at that point. With 5-10 spearmen, absolutely fine. You slowly transition behind that with your mills. You also, if you want to all in, fucking let your 2 guys on gold. You need the fucking gold. You want +1 ranged attack damage really early on. It's such a good upgrade for you. You want +1 ranged armor most of the time if the enemy also goes archers. If not, you want +1 melee armor and then +1 melee attack. To be fair, the melee attack you can skip. But yeah, you want +1 ranged armor, ranged damage, probably +1 ranged armor, and then you want siege engineering most likely. So that's around 3 upgrades you want to get all the time. So yeah, keeping at least 1 guy on gold or 2 is relatively good. Yeah, and also so if you want to skip the barracks like you did for faster age up an earlier question, what is okay in theory? Yeah, 3, 4, 5 longbows, send them out like you did. Deal a little bit of damage. If you see the enemy goes stable, either you have your spearman already on the other side, or you pull your longbows back, or you send a village. Then you get a stable, not a stable, you get a barracks out. Non-stop produce your longbows, and you rally more or less all your units mostly on wood. If you have enough wood to produce longbows and also slowly produce farms like that and mills, also a mill and then around that farms, you do that. Maybe wood upgrade and is more important even than the +1 ranged armor. That would be maybe a point I would focus first because yeah, the +1 is nice, but more wood is nicer because you can transition faster to farms. And for every fully set up farm, you can more or less produce out of 2 barracks feudal age men at arms. So you can plus the longbows, so you can if you have a full farm setup, non-stop 2 barracks production man at arms, longbows out of your council hall non-stop production. If you get the second mill set up fully, you get up to 4 barracks and 3 archer, 1 council hall and 1 archery range extra or something like that. And you just keep pump out units, get towers around the space next to your base, but you need the spearman with that. Also you don't want to fall too low in the spearman number. So you produce a lot of men at arms and a few spearmen between that. So if you have 3 barracks, I would say 1 barracks produces spearmen and the other 2 barracks produces men at arms as an example. But you want much more men at arms, but you add the men at arms a lot later because first of all they're worse versus Cav units and you can't afford them that early on. So you probably want to wait with them until you got your +1 ranged armor, +1 melee armor, siege engineering, more wood gathering, wheelbarrow, and more food gathering. And then after that you can go man at arms, more or less purely out of the barracks, and just supply them with more archers, and you go all in. If you want to go in. I hope that helped a little bit, and see you guys. Best of luck in your games, and bye.